right, it is 6:30 on Thursday, August 21st, 2025. We'll call this special called meeting of the McGregor City Council to order. We'll go ahead and hit our first agenda item, which is hold a public hearing regarding application for replat of 1115 East McGregor Drive, property ID number 135883.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is a request for a replat of the property that is next door to the Chevy dealership. 2 acres on the front here is what they're requesting to break off. When this was presented to planning and zoning, there was not a project that had been presented to the city. Planning and zoning recommended the approval for the replat. As of today, we've received building plans for a project there. We're working with the developer on trying to see how we can make that applicable, but it is zoned light industrial. They do have water and wastewater on the highway there, and the project is a archery facility, so it would have a indoor archery range and then of course a retail component at the front. Our code of ordinances doesn't have anything specific to an archery range. Kevin and I did chat about it a little bit today, but there is some provisions in there for amusement type facilities or miniature golf. So we felt like that was driving range somewhat applicable. So we may want to add that to our ordinances, but as far as staff is concerned, don't see any issues with the project as proposed.
All right. It is 6:32. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. And it does not appear that we have any public to hear. So we will close the public hearing at 6:33. Move on to agenda item 3, which is discussion and possible action regarding application for replat of 1115 East McGregor Drive, property ID number 135883. So, council, do you have any questions for Brian on this? All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item number 4, hold a public hearing regarding application for replat for unaddressed Cotton Belt Farms development being 97.95 acres within the Robert Bissett Survey A-139 as described in a deed recorded in the McLennan County Clerk's document 201-600-77999, located in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of McGregor, McLennan County, Texas, property ID 139923.
Council, this is a request for a replat. This specific piece of property is in our ETJ here. If you remember, we annexed Cotton Belt Crossing some time ago, and that extended our ETJ down. So this property does fall within the purview for platting. They're not asking us for anything. They're getting their water from Central Bosque that has been engineered and approved by Central Bosque's engineers. We did run this through Walker Partners just for some comments. Walker Partners did provide a pretty substantial amount of comments back. Some of it's applicable to this, and some of it we didn't feel was applicable. So we're gonna, whatever the county's decision on as far as on some of that goes, like right away and fire protection, that kind of stuff. But there's Central Bosque system can't handle fire protection, so they won't have it out there. So But right now, it's these 6 3-acre tracts that are on the top here on Willow Way. And then the rest of this is planned to be sold off in 10-acre tracts by description. So there was, like I said, a laundry list of things that they needed to address as far as verbiage and specifying specifics on the plat, and that has all been addressed. So was recommended contingently at the time for planning and zoning for this replat. So
Okay. Well, we will go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:36. And I don't believe we have any general public here to speak on it. Mr. Butler, would you like to speak on this? Please identify yourself so Angela can get you in the minutes.
Sure. I'm Ryan Butler. We're moving back to the area. This will be one of these tracks will be where we end up living in the next few years. We're planning on moving in January, so look forward to having all those neighbors. So appreciate y'all's help with this. I think it'll be something that's good for the area, provide something that's not out there right now as far as small tracks that people can own. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
All right, thank you. All right. Seeing no other public, we'll close the public hearing at 6:37 and move on to discussion and possible action regarding the application for replat for unaddressed Cotton Belt Farms development being 97.95 acres within the Robert Bissett Survey A-139 as described in a deed recorded in the McLennan County Clerk's document 201-600-77999, located in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the City of McGregor, McLennan County, Texas, property ID number 139923. All right. Thankfully, those are the two longest ones I have to read tonight. Now, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought what I heard you say was that they weren't asking for any city services at all?
no, sir.
No water, no sewer, we're off the hook on all that?
Right. It would be cost prohibitive to run sewer all the way down Cotton Belt back to where we have a 12-inch connection that does send a little bit to Waco right now. So they're going to be on the aerator system as designated by the county, so they'll have to meet that requirement. But the water is Central Bosque, so they're not asking us for anything but just to chop it up.
The water is Central Bosque that is piped over from the line that we connect with them, that connection that we have. It is the Woodway water that they sell before it gets to Woodway, and then of course they supply Woodway through the back door. I just thought that was kind of interesting. So you don't have a city water system, but you're going to be getting city water from his lake.
All right, council have any other questions? At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for replat for unaddressed Cotton Belt Farm development. Do I need to read all of that?
No, just give us the property ID number.
With property ID number 139923.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further questions? Any discussion at all? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, item 6, hold public hearing on proposal to adopt tax rate of $0.531392 per $100 valuation. This rate exceeds the no new revenue tax rate and does not exceed the voter approval rollback tax rate.
Yes.
Lee, would you go ahead and present that to us one more time?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna. I think I'm going to skip around a little bit. Just turn on. There we go. Okay, so that's budget assumptions. We'll come back to all this when we go over the budget. But for the tax rate, remember there were 3 tax rates that were given to us by the McLean County Tax Office. One is the no new revenue rate, which down at the bottom, you can kind of see how they're broken out between maintenance and operations and INS, interest and sinking, and get to the total rate. Our current rate that we have for the fiscal year 2025 is 0.530016. The proposed rate that we used for the budget is the voter approval rate, which is what we use historically. That's 0.531392. The no new revenue rate is a little less than that at 0.530892. And the de minimis rate is going to be higher just naturally, because the de minimis rate it's a rate built to allow us to raise an additional $500,000 in ad valorem taxes. But anyways, going through the calculations of these 3 rates, this is the voter approval rate. You can see that for maintenance and operations, it increases the taxes on a $100,000 home by $11.49. But when INS is involved in that, the total increase is $1.38 in the tax rate on a $100,000 home. This is, again, this rate is what we used, what y'all asked me to use for the budget that we'll see in the next item. So the calculation for the no new revenue, on a $100,000 home, you see annual increase for maintenance and operations for almost $11, for $10.99. For INS, you'll see a decrease for $10.11. So the total increase is 88 cents per $100,000. The de minimis rate, that's where the large increase is. Increase in maintenance and operations on a $100,000 home is $58.82. For interest and sinking, the decrease is $10. Well, the decrease is going to be the same across all 3 rates. Interest and sinking is what it is. Is down $10.11 for a total increase of $48.71. And again, the one that's historically been used and the one that I was asked to use to finish up the budget, to prepare the budget initially, is the voter approved rate of 0.531392.
All right. Thank you, Lee. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:44. And appears we don't have any public here, so we will close it at 6:44, and we will move on to item 7 and let Lee go ahead and present us with the budget.
All right.
So item 7 is hold public hearing on proposed budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Yes, thank you. And this budget is going to look largely the same as it did on the 4th. The budget assumptions, all the same assumptions that we saw last time. The one thing I do want to mention here before I just read them off is that the 25% increase in healthcare insurance, it's still 25% in the budget, but we're working with the broker and with, I believe, United Healthcare, who we use currently, is being a little bit more competitive in their rates. It's not, I mean, for the purpose of the budget, it's set in stone, but for actual, it's not set in stone. There's still some debate going on there to see if we can get a more competitive rate increase in healthcare insurance. So then continuing down the list, we have a 5% COLA. just across the board. TMRS contribution rate has increased, or will increase on January 1st from 12.96 to 13.12. This is the 4th year of the tornado siren program. We've allocated, in the past, there have been a few individuals that we've allocated across funds. We've allocated a few more. The assistant city manager is one of the new ones. The entire finance department used to be, it was just the finance director and the assistant finance director. Now our AP clerk is being split to the utility fund because there's just as much, if not more, bills that we're paying that involve the utility fund, water and wastewater, as it does streets and parks in the general fund. So we, in addition to the 5% COLA, there's a 5% market increase for patrol officers this year. There's an 8% increase in water and wastewater rates to help offset wholesale rate increases. Animal shelter costs we see rising again, just based on the number of animals that we take into the shelter compared to the number of animals that other cities take into the shelter. So in the past it was $105,000 annually. This year it's budgeted at $180,000 annually. And additionally, as far as capital outlay goes, we talked about the siren and a few bullet points up. Also the SCBA, the fire department's breathing apparatus at $27,000, and 2 fully equipped police cars at $143.5 thousand are our capital outlay in the general fund that we were able to work in this year. Okay, this again is our budget summary. It's a little small, a little hard to read, but that should be in your slide deck in front of y'all. Let me see here. It's going to be pretty much the same. Most all of the funds are balanced. All the funds that need to be balanced are. The ones that aren't is the court funds. We have revenues over expenses there. The industrial park fund, you know, like in the past, because we sold that land, which we contributed some to the general fund, some to the park development fund, some remained in the industrial park fund. There's fund balance there that we're able to spend down, and you know, potentially fund balance that we'll get back on the sale of more land. It's when we look at it in 1 year like this, we see the loss there, the spending down of fund balance, but really we feel that it is sustainable. And the debt service fund has a little bit of a spending down of fund balance just based on you know, working with the tax office. I've heard that their collection practices are a little more stronger, to where we've collected more in this year than what was actually levied. I think as a catch up. So now, when all of that is collected in this fiscal year, we have a fund balance that we're able to spend down, and you'll see that our estimated ending working capital, or in this instance, ending fund balance, is still positive. It's still a healthy fund. It's just that, again, in a matter of timing, a matter over years, we're spending down what we earned in this fiscal year. Okay. We can see combined revenues again. That stayed generally the same. Nothing large moved there. We see, again, charges for services 36% at 6.5 million, almost 6.6 million. Property taxes at 26%, sales taxes at 15%. Okay, so that's the money coming in across all funds. Money coming out is going to be for contracted services at 27%, personnel services at 34%, and debt payments and or transfers are 17%. That's the majority of what makes up our expenditures. Okay. This is what we talked about earlier. I'm not going to go over these slides too much because we already did. But the tax rate that we used for this budget is the voter approved tax rate of 0.531392, as opposed to our current rate, which is 0.530016. I think that's it's an increase of a 1/10 of a cent, I believe. Okay. This is our direct and overlapping property tax rates. This just gives us a nice picture of where we are historically and where we are compared to things like MISD, or I guess that's both of them, McGregor ISD and Midway ISD, McLennan County and McLennan Community College. Okay. And then this too is our assessed value and estimated actual value of taxable property. This was taken from the fiscal year 2024 budget. So we have fiscal year 2024 at the bottom from tax year 2023. But again, we can see that increase in total taxable assessed value of almost 714 million. And then if we go back to the calculation we used here, our taxable value per the tax office is per the county appraisal district from the tax office to us is 875,224,197. So we are seeing growth there. Okay. Here's our general debt service. Just a lot of the same as last year, just what we are required to pay for these issues, these series of CO bonds on principal and interest. And this is all debt service funds. This was just in the general fund. This is for everybody, which I believe is going to be the same this year. Okay. All right. So then moving back into the general fund. Again, a lot of what we saw on the 4th is for general fund revenue, 35% is property taxes, 24% is sales taxes, 14% is land leases, 6% transfer in, 6% franchise taxes. A lot of what we saw last time. Same for expenditures by department. We see police, parks, and streets are the big three. Same as what we saw in the past. Okay. I did add in this presentation, I added everything capital that was requested. And we can see, so there's the siren for 35,000, the SCBA for 27,000, and the 2 out of the 3 police cars requested for 143,000. So then everything over to the right is deferred. That's stuff that we weren't able to fit into the budget as it is. But those 3 items, as we mentioned earlier, are ones that we were able to make it into the budget. Okay. Moving on to the utility fund. This is just a general overview. You can see revenues of 6.7 million, expenditures of 6.7 million. It's a balanced budget. However, I believe there's a contingency in here. And yes. Yes. 266. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. Okay. Utility fund expenses by category. Same as last time. Contracted services at 45%, personnel services at 24%, capital outlay at 12%. Which I did add a slide for that too, so we can see what makes up that 811,000. Okay. And here that is. We were able to fit most all of what was requested for the utility fund in there, so that we're able to complete a lot of the projects that we want to complete and get done the services that we want to get done for the citizens. So you see that kind of broken down. That's everything that we were able to fit in, and there's the total of 811,000 there. Okay. All right, for the airport, this again is very much the same as last time. What we show as reserves there are not truly reserves. They're that 100,000 is from what I'm aware. I talked to Barry earlier today. I don't think we have an official FY26 ramp agreement for the routine airport maintenance grant. But I believe from his discussions with the people at TxDOT that he talks to with his contacts over there, we're thinking that it's going to be the same. It's going to be a 90-10 grant. So the maximum we can receive on that grant is 100,000. And then moving down to the bottom for capital outlay, we've budgeted $111,111. That's going to be the 100%, whereas the 100,000 is the 90% that we'll receive maximum, that we should receive if we spend everything that we can. Right. This is the budget for the cemetery. A lot the same as the last time I showed it. There's a little bit of a contingency for 37,000 in there just to balance the budget out. And here's a recap of all debt. You see we have the general fund. This was everything that we've looked at there and discussed over in the budget. We have a component unit. I believe that's the TERS funded debt there. And then we have our total of all debt in the column to the right. Okay, and I believe that is it for the budget. But I know some time has passed since the 4th and since today, and just wondering if there was any questions that y'all had. Yes.
Hold on just a moment, just to keep it clean. We'll open our public hearing at 6:58.
Yes, sorry.
And we will close our public hearing at 6:58. And I believe council had some questions for you about the budget. Did y'all?
So, just remind us again, I know we have another siren, which is great. Can you remind me where they are, or Kevin? Like, the fire sirens?
Well, that's a good question. When we first started this a few years back, I produced a circle map. The first thing Chad did was put one where what it's supposed to be, but it was close enough. What's the next one, Chad? We've got one on Judith Road.
Judith Road.
That one's already in place, right?
Yeah, that was the last one. We did that early this year.
Those were all marked. I'm sorry. Tell us where they all are now.
That's a number.
Does he need to come to the mic?
By Cole Funeral Home, 84, okay.
I know you're shy, but and make sure it's on.
Yes. This.
If you want to use this one, you can.
Sure. So 84 going towards Waco, the old lift station, there's one there. Judith Road out by Knopf, 5th Street by Cole Funeral Home, the rodeo arena, the old rodeo arena still has one. We're planning on moving that one at some point, but it needs a new box, a new control box. There's one at the ballpark, launch pad ballpark. That one also needs a new box. It still works, but it.
One at the high school lift station.
And one out there and then one out by the pool. Yep, and I think that's it. Next one's, we're looking at putting it out at the parks because of the development that's coming out there.
That's, okay, good,
Yeah.
because I was saying we're having development that way, so.
Yeah.
I know we'd wanna, include all the areas.
Well, we're gonna use that as the siren pole for one, but we're gonna actually attach some meter reading equipment to that pole as well. It's gonna be a dual use. So,
Okay.
good enough?
More to come.
More to come?
Thank you. And then I just had a question with the healthcare insurance. I know at one time we were using like a consultant. Are we still using them to help us with this? Okay. And it's still 25%
Well,
increase?
I had a conference call set up for tomorrow morning at 9, but, they went back, we have like 4 different, carriers there, so that's really good. And United Healthcare gets another shot at it, and they have brought down their rates. So now we're in the negotiations of what about MetLife, and we move all of our services over there, or keep MetLife, and don't have all of our eggs in the
United Insurance, got a pretty good sized chunk bought by Berkshire Hathaway. And that put their stock in a much better position, and I think they're set to be a little more competitive. We were about to go with one of two other possibilities that were beaten out, but they decided they might want to keep us.
And
Which
it's,
is better, but
and it's still good coverage, correct? Like even if it's low, it's still good coverage for our employees and everybody?
There's hardly any carriers that do the $500 deductible anymore, and so it's $750, and we managed to keep it at $750.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to,
Oh wait, I have one more. Sorry. One more.
sorry, our next agenda item is the same thing, so.
Go for it.
So we'll move on to number 8, and discussion possible action relating to the adoption of proposed budget for fiscal year 2025, 2026. So now, ask your questions away.
And no, the only other thing was, like we have so many of the dogs, right, going to the animal shelter, so are we trying to put out, like, is it because they're not registered, we don't know whose they are, or we really just have stray dogs just loose and,
you don't take as many as some. Rowdy is exceptionally good at knowing where the dog lives.
okay,
In fact, if there's a dog running around town that he doesn't know where it lives, it would probably drop, as a general rule. Somehow, my wife, 2 of her best friends, and our new neighbor from California, and my daughter, keep finding dogs. They seem to come to our house. So Rowdy is almost always on the rail. And it's really fascinating to watch that. But he's as good a dog as I've ever seen. Please don't tell him that. I hate for him to know I said that. But that being the case, the price for that's going to continue to go up. Had a meeting early this week with some folks from Waco, and no-kill number is 90%. It is a true challenge. They have been overfilled and overflowing for 4 months in a row and starting right now. So the no-kill could be a little bit of danger. They're still going to be one of the best performing systems out there. But yes, we can control a lot of our cats. We've spent the money that was done for this year, so October 1, we'll start spending more money on cats. That's a very good program. The catch and release, if you will, does a lot to help with vector control. And if they're caught and released, they don't breed anymore. So you get the benefit, but the growth of the problem considerably fast. And we've got ABC clinic and there's another veterinarian that's also helping us with that. So we really have hit that. And you remember the last number of cats we picked before we stopped?
It's close to 150.
It's been pretty good. So you see with the clip here, pretty good.
Questions for Lee about the budget?
So this is gonna be related to the the 6 positions that you allocated the
Oh, for
administrative
police.
cost to. Right, so between,
Oh, yes, okay.
yeah, the city manager, city secretary, all those that got allocated.
Yes, sir.
Did any of those funds get transferred to the MEDC budget?
No, no.
So the headcount stayed the same, so between the COLA to all staff, the even headcount, can we ask to see how those dollars were allocated to which budgets? All right, cause if you look through here on a few funds, you see a 10% to 12% increase, and some you see a 4, and some you see a 6, to just kinda help us better understand where those funds have been allocated and how that's impacted by that 5%.
Yeah, certainly. I can get y'all a hard number. I will say, and let me go back to that slide just so we can go one by one and make sure that we understand each one and the reasoning for it. The city manager, I believe, is most if not all of his salary is in the industrial park fund. The assistant city manager is split 50-50, is going to be split 50-50 between the general fund and water wastewater. The city secretary, and I will say for the assistant city manager, a lot of that is that once the administrative duties come across, there's going to be a lot of stuff that he does for both funds. So it's more of it makes sense rather than we're trying to shift around or do anything like that. The city secretary, she also handles HR. So just from the get-go there, not every employee is in the general fund. So we split it 50-50 between the general fund and the utility fund. Additionally, for council meetings like this, there's going to be some things that come across, some resolutions, ordinances, line items and agendas that will deal primarily with the general fund, some that will deal primarily with the utility fund. I think it's sort of reasonable to split it in such a way as that. The fleet mechanic, and this was done historically, but the fleet mechanic, the reasoning there is that there's a lot of vehicles he works on that are in maybe streets in the general fund, but then there's a lot of vehicles also that he works on that are going to be for utility maintenance. It's going to be for wastewater or water, all those people that need to be out in the field as well over there. So he's been split 50-50 between between the general fund and the utility fund. The events manager, she is also the director over parks. So half of her salary, I believe, is this is another historical one. Half of her salary is in the general fund, half of it is in the Exchange Event Center. And then for the finance department, historically the finance director and assistant finance director, for much the same reason as the city secretary or the HR function, there's a lot of things that we do, a lot of checks that we write. The expenditure is going to come out of the utility fund. I mean, there's still a lot that we write that's going to come out of the general fund too. So we've split those in the past and continue to split, especially with our AP clerk, split 50-50 there. So a lot of it is an even split, 50-50 between the general fund and the utility fund. I believe that if we were to track this across all funds, and say, well, the EDC has three employees, or So as a HR function, 3 out of our 70 employees, and it's not a hard number, I'm just kind of making it up loosely. 3 out of our 70 employees work at the MEDC, so we need to put, this percentage, like whatever that percentage is over there, 5% or something. I feel like we would lose the decision usefulness there if we allocated it across all funds exactly. So this split, I think, is going to be good for us and good for y'all whenever the question comes up. Like, can we see that split? A lot of it, it's not going to be hidden. It's going to be right out in the open. But yes, to actually answer your question, I can get you a hard figure.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
One last one. Sorry.
Okay.
On page 18 of the budget, the contracted services shows about 27% of expenditures.
Yes,
Can
and
you give us a breakdown of kind of what
I
those contracted services look like?
I do have that breakdown. So across all funds, for contracted services, about 1.6 million of that is going to be the Blue Bonnet water fees that we see in the utility fund. That's going to be the largest contributor of that. Just below that is we have 740,000 in expenditures budgeted for garbage services from Progressive Waste Solutions or Waste Connections. Our electricity for the city is 385,000. We have Walker Partners. A lot of our engineering costs 335,000. We have the Waco Industrial Foundation payment for 299,000. TML insurance for 260, and a contractual payment to SpaceX for 150,000 with our 380 agreement. I guess all that to say is I could give you this list as well for you to look over and review. But that is what makes up. I looked, and I think that's about 75%, 3/4 coverage. I can look a little more into it if you would like me to, but that's the information I have tonight.
Is that where city attorney fees come out of too?
Yes, the legal fees, but it wasn't. I think I had.
You're like the top 75 on that list.
Yeah, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 7 of them on there. Legal fees probably just barely didn't make that cut.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, thank you. Are there any other questions?
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Yeah. No. Make a motion to take no action.
Make a motion to take no action.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right, and for further discussion on that, I'll let you know that the motion to take no action has been made because we will be adopting the budget tomorrow night. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, Lee is the star of the show tonight, so item 9 will receive financials as of June 30th, 2025, and quarterly investment report.
Yes, thank you. And I will do my best to make this succinct. The packet is also with the budget you received. And if there are any questions that come up, feel free to ask them tonight. Email me throughout the week or anytime. So these are the financials and the eventual investment report for June of 2025. So that month represents 3/4 of the fiscal year. And just broken down between some of the larger funds that we look at more closely. The general fund is at 82.4% revenues, 65.9% expenses. Utility fund, 86.8% revenues, 77.7% expenses. The exchange is at 51.8% revenues and 75.3% expenses. And airport is at 63.7% of revenues and 44.9% of expenses. So all of those particularly healthy. The one that we'll see shine a little bit later is the exchange whenever we compare actual from last year to actual this year. So going through, kind of speaking to that, general fund net cash flow is $819.4 thousand higher than the previous years. Revenues are up $1.3 million. Expenditures are down $503.4 thousand compared to the same period last year. Those revenue increases are attributable to ad valorem taxes and a budgeted transfer of $1 million, like we talked about, from the industrial park for the sale of land. Expenditure increases are primarily the payment to the Waco Industrial Foundation of almost $300,000, with the remainder relating to just budgeted increases in contracted services and personnel services. Okay, for the utility fund net cash flow is $837.3 thousand higher than the previous year. Revenue is up $569.2 thousand. Expenditures are down $268.1 thousand compared to the same period last year. The revenue increase relates to an increase in water use and receipt of insurance refunds. And expenditure decreases are primarily due to a decrease in debt service expenses offset by an increase in personnel costs as budgeted. Okay. This is what we were talking about a little earlier with the exchange fund. Exchange net cash flows are up $56.1 thousand as compared to the same period last year. Revenues are up $6.6 thousand. Expenses are down $49.5 thousand. The reasoning for that decrease in expenditures is that there were a lot of one-time expenses in 2024 that did not occur in 2025, such as lighting replacement costs of $21.3 thousand and eclipse viewing event center costs of $14.6 thousand. The remainder of that difference just relates to timing differences. Okay. For the airport, net cash flows are down $61.5 thousand compared to the same period last year. Revenues are down $2.3 thousand. Expenses are up $59.2 thousand. A lot of the justification for that increase in expenditures is going to go to the grant-funded terminal rehab projects that this year was a 90-10 grant, and we are to spend $111,111 to receive $100,000 maximum in grant funds. It's a 90-10 grant. So that's why we're seeing a lot more expenditures from the airport fund, is to take advantage of the opportunity we've been given there. Okay. So this is the cash flow report just across all funds. And you'll see the ones we've talked about are in there. So others that we haven't talked about in there, but that's in your slide deck if you wanted to look through that, and if you had any questions on that, I'd be happy to help. Okay. This is our cash flow report for the month of June. We've got 2025 and 2024, and we can see a decrease from last year, which we're going to break into in this slide. So net cash in the bank is $8 million less than the same period last year. Operating accounts are down $1.5 million. Pooled cash is down $4 million. Grants are down $765.7 thousand, and capital projects are down $858,000 as compared to the same period last year, which is all to be expected from the amount of funds that we're spending on projects. Okay, so we're looking at sales tax revenue in the next slide. This is year to date, so from the beginning of the fiscal year to June. We can see that our trend line is still healthy, but we also see from fiscal year 24 to fiscal year 25, we see a slight decrease that we're currently monitoring. In the past, we've worked with the with the comptroller's office to get confidential information that might help us assess this a little bit further. But we're still looking into that as it happens, because it's basic. We just get what we get from the comptroller's office. Okay. And then lastly, this is the investment report for Q2 of the calendar year 2025. We can see in that second row the interest allocation. Right at the bottom, the total interest by portfolio fund type. In Q1, it was $224,000. Q2, it was $225,000. Sort of similar, but as we've talked about in past slides, there's a expected decrease in cash across funds and different component units and the like. So then going down to the bottom, those kind of bullet points, cash and investments on hand at June 30th, 2025 is $28,367,955. The change in cash that we looked at above is $1,642,271. The interest earned in the second quarter of the calendar year is $225,825, which brings our fiscal year-to-date interest earnings up to $700,428. Okay, and if y'all have any questions over that, feel free to let me know. Okay, and I believe that is all for the financials. But again, if y'all have any questions on anything that we went over tonight, let me know. If I can't answer it immediately, I'd be happy to look through it tomorrow and get y'all that answer.
Okay, do we have any questions for Lee? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll move on to agenda item number 10, discussion regarding appointments to city boards and commissions, with appointments to be made at regular council meeting to be held on September 8th, 2025.
We've had several come in that are just asking to remain on the board. We have a couple of new ones. The deadline to submit your letter of interest or email or text is September 2nd. And so just putting it out there again.
All right.
Did they send you a letter?
Did they?
I don't know. We told them to.
Check.
We told them to send them.
All
I
right.
will be revisiting this in the last 2 months with staff next Tuesday morning. We are instructed to have either send it, send it back, or somebody replacing it. Questions that people would know. Hardly anybody here does apply to the country. You should have a full slate. You should have a full slate before September 2nd that you can look at.
And they can text. So I just turned it over to you. Yeah.
Really, the only one here listening is Brian, because the other two didn't have it. They'll all know. I made that a really big deal this year. I actually made it a big deal every year.
All right.
We told them they got it.
So if y'all know somebody that wants to sit on a city
Have
board,
somebody, send them up.
let them know.
Just September 2nd.
Yep.
You made that call.
All right, item 11. I am to announce a special called council meeting to be held on August 22nd, 2025 at 6:30 for the final adoption of the budget and tax rates. So that is tomorrow. And city manager, do you have any announcements?
I have one announcement that I'm kind of excited to get. I've already gotten the renewal notice from SpaceX for the next 5 years. That'll start next February, and their payments increase 25%. Did you know that?
All right.
And I have one thing, the deadline for the reservations for
Next Thursday
OSCA
at noon. Oh, we also have the TML Region 9 meeting coming up September.
It's the 11th because MCC is hosting Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
So September 11th, if council wants to. I didn't mean to interrupt in your, sorry.
That's your last one?
It is going to be my last one as president, and Brian's as secretary. High five to Brian. I publicly also wanted to say thank you. You know, you've done a lot, so I appreciate it. But yeah, if y'all want to go, that would be great. It's going to be in Waco, so it's not going to be in a far city. But yeah, it will be my last meeting as president and his as secretary.
To the TML, who we let know?
You can let Brian know. We'll put it on.
That's for the Region 9 meeting, that's what you're asking about?
I didn't know if I put it down, I didn't know if I'd let you know, I said yes.
And that one's in the evening.
I believe I have a yes from, I want to make sure we're clear, I have a yes from Renee for the annual conference. This is a separate thing, so there's Region 9 and then TML as a whole. I want to make sure that you're clear.
Yeah, the city council knows there's a TML conference you can go to. It's in Fort Worth, October 29th through the 31st. They always have a lot of good information for you guys, especially like y'all are new. It might be an advantage to you guys to go and kind of learn about, you know, city processes, city.
Don't expect to get a good hotel location. Those are gone the first day.
But then the TML Region 9 is just our region, like here in the Central Texas area. And they always have some type of education during those meetings as well. And it starts at 6 and it goes till about 8. So again, it's hosted in Waco. If you want to go, you can get with Brian. And I think that's all I have.
All right, well, do we have any other announcements from council since we're on that agenda item now?
Sorry.
No? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 7:28.
Thank y'all.